Hello everybody and welcome. In today's video, we are in a snow globe here at Bryce Canyon National Park. Maybe you can see behind me here, the beautiful, beautiful Bryce Canyon. It looks amazing in the snow. Not a lot of visitors here when it's snowing out, and it has just been nuking snow today. I came up here, I'm gonna be spending a few nights up here just doing some landscape photography, hopefully capturing some great light. Now, there's a few reasons why I came up over these couple of days. First of all, we got all of this snow, but I mean, we've been getting this kind of snow this whole winter. So what stuck out about these few days here? So first of all, today is Thursday. It's been snowing all day. Snowed all day yesterday on Wednesday. Luckily, I'm only like 2.5 hours to get up here from where I live. Decided to come up here because of the weather report for the next couple of days. So it's still snowing and foggy right now, and it's going to be snowing overnight. But what really intrigued me for photography is that in the morning, the clouds are supposed to clear, and it's supposed to be clearing right around sunrise, which usually will result in some potentially really nice clouds for sunrise. So mostly out here to capture sunrise the next couple of days. But of course, I came out here early to take advantage of this opportunity. And right now I'm shooting some telephoto stuff of these hills back here, or these hoodoos, I guess, since we're at Bryce Canyon. So in this video, I'm just going to talk about what I'm doing, a few tips that I'm using, and just show you guys the whole process and show you the beautiful Bryce Canyon National Park in winter. Let's jump right into it. So what a fantastic time to flip the camera around here and look at what we're looking at. We've got this beautiful sun poking through right now, which is just absolutely perfect for photography. And essentially, I've got my 70-300 lens on my Sony a7R IV on a slick carbon fiber 833 tripod, and I'm looking directly straight out at those hills over there. So what's in front of me is not all that interesting here, but what I'm really liking is what's out here. So you can see here on the back of my camera screen, I am just simply zoomed in, shooting that spot out there. And I've been looking at that spot for quite some time, and it just now got the light. Like, honestly, super great timing that I flipped around the video to shoot this, because the sunlight makes all the difference in the world. I'll show you guys the difference between a photo with sunlight and without sunlight. And as you can see, the sunlight really just makes things look great. So the other thing that I'm keeping in mind is I'm shooting a pretty fast shutter speed. Maybe you saw when I was looking at the back of my camera. I'm shooting at 1/500th at f11 at ISO 200. A lot of you guys might be wondering, why would I not just drop that aperture a little bit to like f8 and drop the ISO to 100 or 50? The reason why I've got it to where it's at right now is because I want to maintain that 1/500th shutter speed to capture the snow that's falling in my scene. I'd love to get a little bit of atmosphere, and if I do a long exposure, like say that I stopped it down to like 1/30th of a second, I won't be able to capture the snow that's coming down through my scene because the exposure is too long. The snow won't show in the photo. So by keeping that aperture closed down, it's going to allow me to see the snow, because otherwise, if I was at say like f4, I wouldn't be able to see the snow particles very easily in my photo. And then by keeping the ISO up, which essentially I'm just doing to make the shutter speed fast enough, I'm able to capture the snow and get a little more atmosphere in my scene. So that's just one quick tip. If you're shooting in a snowstorm and you're shooting like through snow, is to use a fast shutter speed. And it's hard to say. It depends if it's windy, how fast the snow is falling as to what shutter speed you need. But using a faster shutter speed is going to allow you to freeze that snow, freeze the motion, and capture that in your scene. Now, one common mistake that I'd see a lot of photographers making is they'd come out here, they'd stand here, and they would look at this great scene in front of them and just think that it is just so beautiful, which it is. But it's not going to capture well on a wide angle photo. A lot of people will stand out here and think, wow, this looks amazing. Let me throw my wide angle on and capture this whole thing. There's a few reasons why you want to use a telephoto in this particular instance, especially here at Bryce Canyon. First of all, it's really busy. So you can see down here in the hoodoos here, it's so busy down there. And obviously, as I'm standing here in person, it's really easy to tell the depth and that there's lots of different hoodoos. But in a photo, everything's going to compress together, and it's going to make it look like it's just one big, busy, like wall of orange rock. So it's not going to look good. The other reason is because you're going to get so much of this sky, which is honestly not all that exciting in your scene. So rather than throwing on your wide angle, throw on something with a little bit of range and zoom into something that's interesting. You saw on my camera there, I'm shooting just this very little strip right here. I'm zoomed all the way in, and I'm at about 250 millimeters. So I'm able to really get rid of a lot of the noise per se, or things that are distracting that are down here, by just zooming into my subject very far away over there. Now, another thing that I want to think about is I can't just zoom in to wherever the sunlight's hitting and think it's going to create a good photo. And I definitely could do that, but it's probably not going to be the best photo unless I'm lucky. So I want to find that composition that looks good to me, and wait for the sunlight to hit. Now, how I found this composition was I looked and there's like this kind of dominant rock on the left. It's a little bit larger, sticks up a little bit further, and so it kind of gathers a little more attention, making it an appropriate subject for my scene. So I framed that on the left side of my frame here, as you can see, and then everything on the right just supports that. And of course, on both the left and the right edges, I'm looking for a good spot for my photo to end. I could zoom out a little bit more, I could zoom in a little bit more in order to get rid of anything that may be distracting or any element that is like overly interesting on the edge, because we don't want to cut anything that might be distracting or interesting because it's going to make your photo a little bit worse. So that's how I found this composition. I've been sitting here for a while, freezing my butt off out here, waiting for the sunlight to hit. It finally did. Now I'm kind of just standing here recording this video, looking around for more compositions. It's a great night out here, and I'm really excited for the next couple days. All right, everybody. Well, good morning. We're out here. It's pretty cold. Actually didn't get as cold as I thought. It's only about 13 Fahrenheit right now. So it's not too bad, but it is a little bit windy. Originally, I had hiked kind of down into the canyon a little bit, and I was at a pretty cool spot, but I ended up coming back up here to the ridge. You can probably see I'm at the ridge right now, just because the cloud cover, let me turn this around again. Maybe you can see, or maybe it's blown out, but there's clouds right on the horizon line. So the sun is not going to be peeking through right at sunrise. It's going to come through eventually, but not right at sunrise, which the spot that I was in was like a wide angle shot, and it was really optimized for probably a nice sunrise where the light's going to come through, and it's going to be a while. So I decided to head up to the ridge here, shooting some more telephoto stuff. I'm finding a little bit different stuff than yesterday because, of course, the light is hitting now from the west because the sun is rising. Or I'm sorry, it's hitting from the east because the sun is rising, whereas last night it was hitting from the west because the sun was setting. So I'll find a little bit different light hitting some different hoodoo formations this morning. So I'm going to take you guys along for the ride. All right, so right now, this is what I'm working with. I'm looking straight out this way over here. And right now I'm shooting pretty bright. You can probably see it's not quite overexposed, but I'm shooting this bright. Of course, I could do this in post-processing, but I'm trying to just kind of get it nice and bright out there because I want to give that nice, snowy, wintry snow globe feel. Whereas if I shot this like dark, it's not going to give you quite the same feel. And I think this composition is going to get even better once the sunlight hits. And obviously I'll have to adjust my exposure then. Right now I'm shooting at 1/25 of a second, f8 ISO 100. I like f8 because it's going to keep my landscape in sharp. I'm shooting everything far away. There's nothing in the foreground. Everything is super far. And then 1/25 of a second is just the shutter speed that kind of dialed things in correctly. Now, like I was talking about yesterday, I could get that kind of snow that's moving around, but it's not really snowing. As you can see, the sky is clear. But there is snow blowing around, but because it's so close to me, even if I shot a fast enough shutter speed, it's just too close to me that it's not going to be in focus and you're not even going to be able to see it. So for that reason, I'm going with a little bit slower shutter today so that I don't have to jack up the ISO and get things all noisy. So yeah, I'm just looking right out here, super far away on the GoPro, but that's what I'm shooting this morning. We will see what happens with the sunlight here. I think the sun's going to peak up right here and it's going to just flood into this valley and it's going to look fantastic. So just like last night, I want to avoid all of this junk down here because while it may be beautiful, it's not going to look good in my photo for multiple reasons. You can see how dark it is down there compared to the background. It's just so busy. And it's really hard to tell on a photograph, a 2D photograph, the depth and the dimension, which is, I can see in person, is just fantastic. But in a photo, it's really hard to portray that. So that's why I'm shooting telephoto again, and I'm getting a little bit of compression. Right now, I'm at about 210 millimeters, maybe. We're still looking at the same thing over there, but once the light hits, there's going to be tons of opportunity. Another thing that I'm looking at is maybe these hoodoos that are like right along the ridge here. And maybe I'll show you more zoomed in on my camera here what those look like. But I think once those catch some light, those will look really interesting. There's like unlimited possibilities of good compositions up here once the light starts to hit. So just a waiting game from this point. All right, well now the sun is starting to hit. You can see just a freaking beautiful morning out here. So many compositions and there's just so much to look at. Anything that's catching light is fair shot at a composition. Now down here, there's some photo opportunity there wasn't before because that sunlight allows us to show off the depth of what's going on down there. And of course, the ridge line over here, this cool little hoodoo sticking up, and even this part here is going to be catching some sunlight pretty soon. So tons of great opportunity. The sunlight goes a long ways in terms of making your photo look really nice. All right, well, it's been a pretty successful morning out here, just absolutely beautiful. When I was out here earlier this morning, I was thinking I was getting some good shots before the sunlight was hitting. And then the sunlight hits and it just adds a whole new dimension and things just look fantastic. I'm still shooting now. It's probably about an hour and a half after sunrise. I did a little walk around down below, shot some photos down there. Now I'm back up in the same spot I was at this morning, just kind of looking over, shooting a few more things. As the sun continues to rise here and it gets higher in the sky, the photo conditions are going to get worse and worse. It's nice to shoot when the sun is low in the sky. So we'll be shooting this evening as well. It's supposed to be mostly cloudy, so hopefully that sun peeks through here and there when the sun is low on the horizon, and we can get some nice light once again. One of the things that I find so interesting, and maybe you can see here, maybe you can't, but there are these little like hoodoo things. I'll show a picture on the screen here. They're out here, and they're just like little hoodoos sticking up. Of course, there's hoodoos everywhere. These ones are like particularly small and pointy compared to everything else, so they make a really good subject for my photograph, and I think that it works really well, especially when the light hits. I mentioned these earlier before the light was hitting. Now the light is hitting, they look so much better, so much cooler, and so much more dimensional. So I'm taking this opportunity to shoot a little bit of those here and there, as well as some other things that I'm seeing. As you can see here, there's light flooding everywhere. So the possibilities are endless. If you've got a telephoto lens, if you've got a wide angle, you're not going to be able to get that great of a shot in my opinion, because it's just so busy. And there's one shot, you're standing here, here's your wide angle, bam. With the telephoto, I have literally unlimited possibilities. I could aim anywhere. I've got my 70 to 300 zoomed all the way out to 300 most of the time here, and I'm just able to capture such a wide range of different photos. Alrighty guys, well that's going to do it. That's a wrap on this morning. Beautiful morning. Hopefully we'll get a nice beautiful morning tomorrow as well, and a nice evening tonight. I'm really excited. I think a little bit of the snow is going to melt off with the sun. Even though it's cold, that sun is warm, so it's going to melt some of that snow off the hoodoos, which is not great for photography. But I'm going to stick it out one more day. We'll see how it is up here. I'm really excited, and I think that we could get some nice sunrise conditions tomorrow morning. So we'll go back down to the spot that we were at this morning. Maybe check that out. Maybe I'll go to the other side of the park and look back the other way. So many different options to get literally unlimited possibilities of compositions if you've got a telephoto lens. What is up, guys? Back outside now after I spent the afternoon calling through some photos, looking at some GoPro stuff, making sure everything was coming out good, which it is. Now I'm back outside here. Went on a little hike. Wish I would have had my snowshoes or my skis, but that's all right. I had micro spikes, which were good enough for post-holing. Anyway, so we're out here. The sun is out just a little bit. It's super bright out. I should have brought sunglasses. You can see the sun right here. It is out, and which is good news. And it's not like 100% out. You can tell it's like kind of shining through the clouds. So that's going to allow me to capture some nice footage here pretty soon. The sun is still pretty high up in the sky. We've got a couple hours till sunset, but I'm just scouting out some spots, taking a look, seeing what I can see. Let me show you guys what I'm looking at. All right, so we've got some beautiful rocks over here, beautiful rocks over there, nice orange rocks everywhere. And I definitely want to find something where the sunlight is hitting, because especially after looking at my photos, the sunlight hitting makes all the difference in the world. It really brings out that orange color to make it look really nice. So that's really important to me. However, I'm not really crazy about anything that I'm looking at here. The main problem is that this is almost directly east, which makes the sun directly behind it. So I won't get any depth of field here as the sun starts to go down, because the sun is hitting from basically straight behind me, shining straight at it. I kind of want a little bit of side light, which is nice, which unfortunately, all of these over here are going to be pretty backlit. I need side light to show off that dimension like you were seeing this morning. So I'm going to probably hike back to my truck, do some more driving around, hike around on some ridges around here, and try and find a cool vantage for this evening. All right, well, I've now booted it up to another viewpoint here, looking down onto the valley here. Valley looks beautiful. However, as you can see, it's cloudy. The sun should be like right here or so somewhere. It's totally cloudy, so unfortunately there's not really any light. Let me show you what I'm looking at. So as you can see, possibilities are very endless, but we need some sunlight here. There's some sunlight hitting way over here, but none anywhere close. If some sunlight hits, a lot of compositions are going to naturally come, because you're going to see the sunlight hitting in a particular spot that I'm not seeing right now. As you can see, the sun maybe wants to peek through right here, but it's just pretty cloudy. So we're going to wait up here until sunset, which is about another hour. We'll see if the sun clears. If it does, we'll keep you guys posted. And until then, we'll just be hanging out, looking at the beautiful Bryce Canyon down here. All right, well, unfortunately, after standing out here for 45 minutes or an hour, nothing has happened. The sun is still MIA. So unfortunately, we are going to pack it up and head back and look forward to tomorrow morning. Now, this is just part of photography. If you want to become a photographer, maybe you are one, you know that this is just part of the game. Unfortunately, a lot of times you get skunked out, no light, and not able to capture some great photos. But the best thing you can do is use that as an opportunity to scout out for the next day or the next trip or whatever it may be, and just enjoy being outside. So that's what I've done tonight. I've done a ton of walking around, scouting some other spots. I've got one last morning here. I'm obviously not going to be able to hit them all, but of course, since I live so close, I will be back. So it's been nice to just walk around, check stuff out. Unfortunately, no great photos tonight, but we will see you guys in the morning. Good night. What is up, guys? Good morning. Not a lot going on here at sunrise. It might look like it's nice back here, but we're now about 30 to 45 minutes after sunrise. You can see these dark clouds on the horizon. Do not make for good photos, unfortunately. I was down, I had a little wide angle composition set up. Nothing really came of it because no sunlight. Really need that sunlight to create some nice wide angle photos. So at this point now, we are just kind of waiting for the sun to come up. I think what I'm going to do is actually head to the other side. Let me just flip things around here. So I'm going to be heading over here to this ridge, shooting back this way. The sun should be up here in a little bit. Coming into the valley just like that. And I think that should provide some nice compositions from the other side. So we're going to cut this video short. We're going to get running to the other side and we'll catch up when we get there. All right, well, made it to the other side just in time. Our sunlight is here, which is good news for photo compositions. So kind of shooting down here into the valley. Now, I was shooting kind of a wide angle composition originally, and now I'm shooting some more telephoto stuff. Now, the reason being, I shot that wide angle right when the sun was just starting to peek through and there was just a little bit of light. The light is really harsh now for the wide angle because it's so dark down here and so bright up here. So the photo looks really busy. So the shots from earlier that are wide angle are going to be a little better. And when I say wide angle, it's not really that wide. I think I was shooting at like 40 millimeters, which isn't really wide angle, but it's wider than my telephoto. Now I'm shooting some telephoto stuff. I found some really cool compositions just zooming in to some of these small little outcroppings of hoodoos. And that's working a lot better now that we have some direct sunlight so that it's not such dark shadows and that you see in the little bit wider shot. So the biggest thing that you want to make sure here is that you're not overexposing. It's really easy to overexpose, especially when there's snow and sun, because it's so bright when that sun hits the snow. So make sure that you aren't overexposing your scene. And there's a variety of ways you can do this. So as the morning goes on, make sure you're continuing to adjust those settings. I'm always flipping through, speeding up my shutter speed as it gets lighter and lighter outside. Alrighty, guys, so that is a wrap. That's going to do it here at Bryce Canyon. A couple just absolutely beautiful, stunning days for photography after some fresh snow. What a treat it was to be out here. Light's a little too harsh at this point in the morning to keep shooting, so we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. I want to thank you guys so much for checking out this week's video. Super cold up here, but super fun, super worth it. Hopefully you guys were able to gain some knowledge or at least be interested. So let me know if you guys like this kind of video where I give you some tips and show you a little bit of what I'm shooting. I really hope that it was helpful for you guys. Maybe you can pick up some tips for your own shoot and you can see the beauty of Bryce Canyon here in the winter. It's a great destination for photography. Again, thank you guys so much for checking out this week's video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you thought. And as always, we will see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.